Okay, what is up, everybody? So, it is now day 2 of E3, or by the time you're watching this video, day 2 of E3 2013 will have ended. And right now, there are really two hot issues that everyone's been talking about all of E3. Now, the first one was obviously the rivalry of Microsoft and Sony yesterday with their two press conferences going head-to-head and seeing who would win. And if you did miss those press conferences, you might not know, but it went a little bit something like this. Okay, so as you can tell, the internet is full of memes now regarding this whole situation. But the other thing that today in particular became a hot topic or a thing of contention was this announcement yesterday that Killer Instinct, that fighting game series from the 90s that was extremely popular in arcades and then was ported to the Nintendo 64, would be returning. After such a long hiatus, people have been asking for this for over a decade, and finally it's coming back. And it was announced as being an Xbox One exclusive. So everyone was like, wow, that sounds great to us. Now, today, on the show floor, the game was being played, and then it was revealed some information that completely kind of changed everyone's mindset of the game. And now there's two distinct groups of people that are talking about the game. So let me not digress first. Let's not get off track. Let's talk about what the announcement was. Alright, so Killer Instinct not only is going to be a console exclusive for the Xbox One, it is going to be available at launch. So on launch you can get this game. However, it is not a full retail game. It is going to be presented and given to you as a free-to-play downloadable game off of Xbox Live. Okay, so alright, we might say off the bat, okay, that sounds great to me. They're going to give me a game for free? Why the hell is anyone complaining? What's the controversy? The controversy comes in with the second half of that announcement. The free-to-play portion of the game, all you get to play as is Jago. So you only get to play as one character. If you want to play as any other characters in the game, you have to buy them. And it's not been announced yet how much the pricing is going to be per character. Microsoft said, we'll keep it competitive. Let's say it that way. We'll keep it competitive. So what most people are assuming is it's not going to go into the double digits. It's going to be like maybe $5 a character. But I want you to really think about that. Okay, I get the game for free. I try it out. If I like it, I can keep it. And if it's my choice to optionally choose if I want to pay for another character and play with that character. So for some people, this is actually a good thing. They're saying, wow, I get a taste of the game. That's awesome. How many other games? A lot of other games, you don't know what you're getting. You drop your $60 and then it's hit or miss. If you don't like it, you're fucked. You paid $60. You lost all your money. So a lot of people are seeing it as almost like a demo. You get a live demo. Oh, I like it. I'll buy a couple more characters and I'll play with those characters. And now I've played the game for 10 or 15 bucks and that's it. And I feel good about myself. There's another side to this argument that is completely the opposite. People are very upset that they're doing it like this. They're seeing it as a way of Microsoft to nickel and dime the consumer. And there's a whole new region of uncertainty and problems when it comes to a tournament setting for a fighting game that's made like this, which we're going to talk about right now. Okay? Alright, so let's look at both sides of the argument. Okay? It's just the first time you've had a game like this where it's going to be paid for each character. And it's a different business model completely from the standard fighting game model. Usually you go to the store, you pay $60, you get the game, you go home, you play it, there's 20 characters in the game, that's what I get. Later on, maybe there's a couple DLC characters that you pay for later on, but that's completely your choice. You basically got the full game when you paid the $60. Here what they're doing, Microsoft is saying, we're going to give you one character, one portion of the game. And so you can play with that character. If you like the character, you can just continue to play with him forever for free. Or if you want to play as other characters, you're going to pay us some money. So I think the number one thing, the first thing that everyone's going to be contentious about is how much will the characters cost. Okay? If it's $1 each, I don't think anyone's going to give a shit. Because if it's $1 each and the game has 32 characters, it's a $32 game. That's cheap. You know what I mean? But now, now, what if it's $5 a character, okay? $5. So there's 32 characters in the game. That means the full game to have every character is over $150. All right. Now think about this. Normally, you would buy the game; it would be $60. Because Microsoft is using this new model, it's $150 to get the full game. This is exactly the same situation that happened last year with Capcom's Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where the game was released with a whole bunch of characters. Then all of a sudden they said, oh, by the way, there's other characters that are coming, and they're on disc DLC. They're already on your disc. You just have to pay us more money to unlock them. So in order to actually get the entire game, it was some ridiculous astronomical amount of money that you had to pay, way more than the $60 original price tag. And that was the big thing of contention last year with Street Fighter Cross Tekken. People flipping out. Why the fuck am I going to pay that much money to get the full game? You should have given me the full game when I gave you my $60. What Microsoft is they're doing it tricky. They're giving you the game for free. So you have no right whatsoever. You have no ground to stand on. You have no soapbox to stand on and start giving them a diatribe because they gave it to you completely for free. It's not like you already paid something and now you feel like you're owed something. All right? It's also pay as you go. And a lot of people like that. A lot of people, let's be honest, people who aren't super hard competitive into fighting games may buy a game and say, well, I like Jago, I like the look of Saberwolf, Glacius looks pretty cool, and Riptor I like too. I'm just going to buy those 4 characters and just play with those 4 characters, and they'll be happy with that. They'll sit at home, they'll play the computer, maybe they'll play people online, and they'll be completely happy with only playing with 4 characters forever. Let's be honest here, most people who do get into competitive fighting games don't play it with every single character, especially at a top level. Usually they do have their mains or whatever, who they play with a lot, and they actually learn the game through playing with that character repeatedly and learning how do they react to a certain situation versus a certain character and such, okay? So for some people, this business model may actually be very acceptable, especially if you're not a tournament player. You may love this business model. Fine, I get to play Killer Instinct for free, and whether or not I choose to pay is my choice, and maybe I'll get 1 or 2 extra characters for the cheap, so basically I get the whole game for $10. That's sweet. That's an awesome business model, and some people are liking that. In fact, Microsoft directly said in a statement today when they were being interviewed that the reason we made the game like that is because we did market research and found out that most people that play fighting games only play with a small handful of characters most of the time. So rather than have an entirely huge roster of 32 characters, only of which 4 you're going to play with, and you're going to pay the whole $60, in this case, maybe you only pay 20. Now, he didn't say 20 because they didn't announce the pricing for each character yet, but that's the mindset that Microsoft is going for, okay? So for a casual player, for a non-competitive player, what do you mean it's false? False report? The report of what? That the Microsoft rep said that? Well, wait a minute. You can buy the full game. Oh, IGN misunderstood? That's a huge problem, because IGN were the ones who released the article. Are you serious? Holy shit. Oh my god, are you serious? No way. Wow, well, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm going off of what I read today. So apparently this just was released. So who said that? Who is this false report? How do you misunderstand that a game's free to play and then is going to be a retail release? How do you even misunderstand that? That's a huge, huge reporting error. How the fuck did they do that? Are you kidding me? Mitch Dyer? It was Mitch Dyer who fucked up? Are you serious? I gotta see. Does anyone have like an article they can link me to right now that I can take a look and read through it and kind of see what's going on with this situation? Well, then again, unless you're modded, you can't link it. I can't believe. Are you serious? Mitch Dyer actually fucked this up. Of all the people. Huh. So if you can't link it on stream, can anyone maybe tweet it? Tweet the article? I'm trying to see if anyone can link me to this. If anyone could tweet me an article, I'd appreciate it. You cannot post it in the stream chat, but if you could tweet me an article, then we could clarify the whole damn situation. Here's his, so Mitch Dyer, here's his article. So here's his article, but is there an article disproving this, is my question. What I need is an article disproving Mitch Dyer's thing. It seems, alright, here we go. It seems like you can either buy the game in full like you would play any other game, buy any other game, or you can opt to download a free-to-play version of the game where you can buy what you want from the full game in parts. This is going off of what developers mentioned on streams. The developer said all versions of the game are digital only. Only the demo is free to play, which was reported as only including Jago. Presumably you can buy additional characters to add to this free-to-play style, so it's not really a demo, but that's the word the developer used. There'll be regular SKUs with all the content. What the fuck does that even mean? Mention a collector's edition, which again would be digital. Huh. They said Glacius will be playable at EVO, and they'll be announcing the next character at EVO. Ah, this is even, the plot thickens even, this is even a thicker situation than before. Alright, so so now this is the official word breaking news coming from the GameSpot E3 stage show. The people who are actually working on Killer Instinct have this to say. They said the first thing, that there's a misconception with the game being free to play. While the game is a launch title for the Xbox One, fans will be able to purchase the full game on its release, and there'll also be a demo which comes with Jago as a playable character. You can play all the game's modes, including online multiplayer. If you decide after playing the demo that you like the game, you can selectively purchase packages which will feature various characters. Yesterday during the announcement, Double Helix showed off Glacius, and it's confirmed that he will be playable at EVO 2013. Okay, and the game will also have 40 training lessons to teach players how to learn the game. Wow. So, all the controversy today was a misconception. So basically what they're saying is you can do whatever you want. You can buy the full game for $60 and get everybody, or you can nickel and dime your way through it. If you only want to play with Glacius, Jago, and Riptor, you get Jago for free, and you can buy those other two for however much they're going to be. So this is the first time that anyone is actually doing this. This is very interesting to me now, because this could be a brand new business model for fighting games. Wow, I'm really, really interested now. Yeah, because traditionally you would have to buy the full game. What they're doing is allowing you to do either a la carte or buy the whole thing, and that could cater to two completely different audiences. The casual gamer, who only wants to play with a few characters, and the more hardcore gamer. The thing that I was going to say, to go on to say, is that it was going to be an issue because for tournament-level players, okay? Tournament-level players, yes, maybe they don't play with every character, but that doesn't mean that they have not played every character. And what I mean by that is, if you really want to be the best at a fighting game, you need to know every single character's movesets, how much damage, what's their best strategies. You need to know the speed of their moves, what's an anti-air, what's a good defensive move, what's a good offensive move. And therefore, even though in Street Fighter, for perfect example here, Super Turbo, even though I only play with maybe 4 or 5 characters in a tournament setting in that game, I've played with every single character in the game and I understand them. So if they were actually going to nickel and dime you in order to play every character, and you weren't able to buy them all for $60, I was going to say, that would be absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, that would be an atrocity, because if anyone wants to learn the game, you're forcing them to buy every character individually. So I'm actually happy with this announcement, that is not the case. And if Mitch Dyer reported that, he's a fucking idiot, and he should be fired. Because he deserves to be fired. He shouldn't be working for the mainstream media regardless, because he's a fucking hack, and he always has been, as I proved many, many times on Twitter when he got into arguments with me and then couldn't back himself up. So I'm glad. Thank you very much to the stream chat for that. I guess everyone's saying to do it. All right, fine. You blew it. Although I don't think that applies to me. That applies to Mitch Dyer, because I was just going off of what was publicly reported today, and apparently it was misinformation thanks to good old Mitchy D. So remember, a year ago I said this. Actually, I think it was 2 years ago I said this. I'll say it yet again here in 2013. Whenever you see something written by Mitch Dyer, if it's a page in a magazine, you tear the fucking page out, you crumple it up in a ball, and you wipe your fucking ass with it, because that's the real use of it. If you're reading it online, you might as well just go fucking watch, I don't know, go watch fucking Fred videos on loop for 4 hours instead of reading the article, because that will actually do less brain damage to you than reading a Mitch Dyer article. The guy's a fucking hack. I don't know why people had the wool pulled over their fucking eyes about this idiot and think that he's any kind of a credible reporter. He's not. He's a joke. He thinks that you can write game reviews completely based on opinion and no fucking facts. This is what he told me. He was arguing with me that, no, it's just my opinion. No, you have to have facts in a game review, idiot. He's like, no, that's not true. Fuck him. Fuck this stupid idiot. Alright, so, anyway. So that was actually only the first part of the video. So I'm glad that got cleared up, but that was only the first part of what I was going to talk about. So now here's the second half of the whole thing, okay? Killer Instinct is an Xbox One exclusive, okay? Just that fact, because of all the restrictions of the Xbox One, are going to make this fighting game, almost unplayable in a tournament setting. So allow me to elaborate on this, because this is going to be a big problem if people actually try to hold tournaments for Killer Instinct. And I think this is going to be a detriment, because let's face it, if you don't hold tournaments for a fighting game, if the fighting game isn't considered competitive, it has a lot less attention. No one's streaming it. No one's really doing much with it besides playing it at home or doing casual online matches. And when that happens, it doesn't really sell as well, okay? So, here's the problem. Problem number one, the Xbox One, it's confirmed, needs to be connected to the internet in order to fully work, and in this case, needs to be connected to the internet at least once in a 24-hour period. So what you're saying is that if you're having a tournament, that you're going to have to make sure that all of your tournament Xbox Ones have been plugged into the internet and logged into Xbox Live at least 24 hours before the end of your event. So let me repeat that. Before the end of your event, okay? Because think about it this way. What if your event starts at 10 a.m., but it doesn't end until 2 in the morning, but you actually plugged in the Xbox to the internet last 10 a.m. the day before? Guess what? Time's going to run out, and you're going to get kicked off of your console. So right there, number one, that's a huge problem. That is such a huge hassle for a tournament organizer to have to figure out, okay? Number two, the Xbox One only ties a copy to a game to one Xbox Live account. Okay, that's true. What they're telling you right now is that Killer Instinct is a digital-only title. Okay, here's the problem with that. So I own 10 Xbox Ones. Obviously, I don't have 10 different gamer tags and 10 different Xbox Gold accounts. It's just one, Darkside Phil. So I'm going to run a tournament. How do I run 10 copies of Killer Instinct at the same time when you can only purchase one digital copy of a game per gamer tag? So think of it that way. So if you're at a tournament and there's going to be 10 consoles, you need to have 10 different people bring in and donate their consoles to play Killer Instinct, because it has to be 10 completely different people who own the game. If you actually try to log onto those consoles at the same time, they're probably going to say, no, you have to connect to Xbox Live in order to get multiple consoles to work, and it won't work because you can't have multiple consoles log on to Xbox Live. It's going to be this big, convoluted mess. Now, maybe Microsoft, again, it's not out yet. The Xbox One isn't out yet. Maybe Microsoft will allow you to play a digital copy of the game offline as long as you log into your name. Maybe you don't have to log into Xbox Live. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I can tell you right now, for the regular Xbox 360, if you can't log into Xbox Live, you can't play your games that you downloaded to the console. You can't. It just doesn't work. So potentially what I'm seeing, if someone really wants to run a tournament of Killer Instinct, you're going to have, and I'm not exaggerating, this is a reality of probably what you're going to need. 10 consoles, all owned by 10 different people on 10 different Xbox Live Gold accounts, who all are going to have to plug in the consoles during the tournament, because this is a digital game, not a game that can boot from disk, so that it can enable the Xbox Live account to be logged in, so you can boot the fucking digital game. And by the way, if you disconnect the internet from the console, it'll say, well, you only have 10 minutes to reconnect, or else this game ends. That's the reality that you're looking at for tournaments for this game. So, what the fuck? Like, wow. I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but for this game, if you really want to play it at a tournament, how is it going to be viable? How could this possibly work? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. And I hope that Microsoft, if they really want this game to sell, fucking is thinking about this. I honestly don't think they are. I think they're but fucking stupid assholes like this. You know, they got the people developing the game that they probably have never talked to a tournament fighter ever. So they don't know shit about tournaments, okay? Now and the other thing is, that is true, and that is a good point that someone just said in the chat. And in order for the Xbox to even work, they have to have the Kinect plugged in. That's right. So you're going to have an Xbox One with a Kinect on top for a fighting game tournament. How fucking stupid is that going to be? So I don't see viably how Killer Instinct, outside of the fact that now it looks like you can buy the game in full, or you can nickel and dime your way to victory by buying certain characters, I don't see how the hell this is ever going to work in a tournament. At most, maybe if you have a very small tournament, okay, then maybe you can have 2 consoles, and you know what I mean? And so, okay, if it's a small tournament, but to have a large-scale tournament, like, how would you hold this at EVO? I don't know. How would you hold a Killer Instinct tournament at EVO? How realistically do you do it? Unless you have 20 landline connections that you can connect these fucking things to with 20 different Xbox Live accounts. I don't know. I don't see any viability to it. Now, again, the console's not out yet. Maybe it works differently than how the Xbox 360 works. If that's the case, maybe it could work, but they've made no statement about this whatsoever. This is a huge issue of contention for competitive players. Because now you're on day one, people are going to say, do I even want to buy it? If I'm a competitive fighting game player and I want to see if this game's viable for tournaments, do I even bother? Because I don't know if it's ever going to have tournaments. So it's a real issue. It's a real huge, issue. And for me, I'm kind of lucky. And the reason I say that I'm lucky is because I'm in a boat that's much different than the one I used to be in. I used to be this super competitive, hardcore, every game that I play, I have to be the best. And so Street Fighter, I had to be the best Street Fighter. I had to play the fuck out of it. And I had to be in tournaments and blah, blah. I really don't care about that anymore. So for me, I'm going to buy Killer Instinct. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to love it. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of if I ever go to a tournament and play it, I'm just going to enjoy the game for its own merits. And I think a lot of people will probably do that. They'll either just play with Jago or buy 1 or 2 characters. Maybe they'll buy the full game to play through it with everyone and just to have fun, the fun of the game. Find strategies, the combos, play some online play, and that's it. But for people who are like into games and they want to really get good at every fighting game they play, I don't see how this one's going to work. And I'm very interested to see what people are going to be saying about Killer Instinct in the near future, about how they're going to run tournaments for it. I mean, if they're saying Glacius is going to be displayed at EVO, that's great, EVO. How many setups are you going to have? And by the way, how's the console going to stay online to even play this game? Because unless you have it hooked up to really, really bad wireless at a hotel, or unless you're running a landline from somewhere, I don't see how you're even going to have this thing constantly going. So, that's just what I'm thinking. That's just my thoughts, being that I'm seeing it from a completely different level as a tournament player and a tournament organizer. I used to run Street Fighter tournaments, and it was no easy task just to even get the shit working. When you had discs, when you didn't have to be online, it was a pain in the ass to get all the equipment working. Imagine now how difficult it's going to be to get anything going on the Xbox One. This is a huge fucking mess, and I think that they really screwed everyone over with their stupid practices of, oh, it has to always be online. Oh, you have to have a account logged in, tied to an account. No discs now, it's digital, yada, yada, yada. This is a huge mess. Okay, so this video ended up turning out very differently than what I thought it was going to be completely honest. But that's good. I'm glad that that issue got fleshed out. I'm glad that Mitch Dyer will probably get fired. Of course, they probably won't because IGN is so fucking stupid. They'll probably promote the guy now. And I hope that this was an informative video for you. It was for me, and you get some insight now about whether or not you even want to check out Killer Instinct, because if you are a tournament level player, you participate in tournaments, you get very competitive, you may not want to play this game because it may never actually be played in a competitive tournament because of the shortcomings of the Xbox One. So, alright, so that's it for this this stream. I hope you found it informative. There's lots more coverage of E3 coming up this week, so don't worry, there's more to come. So stay tuned, and I will see you later.